All right, welcome back to Under the Radar. It is Monday. This is a free pick show right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel where we are going to look at some players in the big leagues that might be under the radar to you and hopefully are under the radar to the books and can lead us to cashing a few tickets. Last week, we were right about Mike Burrows. He hit his strikeouts over in the first start of the season for him, first start with the Houston Astros. Wrong about Luke Keyshaw over the weekend. He did not get a hit or do anything in that game with the Orioles. But as you guys know, it's sports betting. You win some, you lose some. We're going to try to be right more than we are wrong. And today, the game we're going to focus on is the Blue Jays and the Rockies. And the player I want to focus on is Cody Ponz. So Cody Ponz, you haven't seen him around these parts in a while. He was over in Japan. And then last year, he went to Korea, where he turned in one of the best seasons for a starting pitcher in the history of the KBO. 17-1 in his 29 starts, a 1.89 ERA, a 0.94 whip. But the most ridiculous stat of all, in my opinion, 252 strikeouts in 180 and 2/3 innings. Just a totally dominant season over there for Cody Ponz. Reminiscent of Eric Fetty's year with the NC Dinos before he came back to the big leagues. And now, listen, you may have forgot, Fetty, his name still gets thrown around. He's been able to hang out in the bigs since then. But if you go back to those first couple months, when he was with the White Sox, his first year back over here from Korea, he was an all-star. I mean, he was just, I believe he did make the all-star team for the White Sox that season. It was just incredible. And I have a feeling that Ponce could be that for the Blue Jays. His pitch mix, I don't think anyone's going to really have a beat on what he's going to throw at them, at least in the early going. His stuff looked good in the spring. Obviously, spring training is tough to, know if that's how it's going to play once we're playing for real. But I just don't know how you watch him last year through the course of an entire season where, he really had maybe one stretch where he was a little fatigued. Watch him a little bit in the spring, stuff looks good, and then say, oh, he's not going to do that against big league hitters. I think I'd almost be shocked if he doesn't have success. Now, is he going to come out and rack up 252 strikeouts in 180 and 2/3 innings? Probably not. But I think there is the possibility that he is still very, very good, and an even greater possibility that it takes the league some time to figure him out. So I think he, even though I've been sort of, if you watch Total Bases, you'll know that my handicap has been less about the starting pitcher when I go to bet full game sides and more about just like where the teams are, what the full picture is with the team. The power rating, starting pitcher, bullpen, lineup. Right now, I'm weighting the bullpen and the lineup more than the starting pitcher because, you've seen occurrences of, pitchers first time out. Paul Skeens can't make it out of the first inning. Pitchers not being allowed to maybe go as deep as they will be, in a week or two. I actually got burned with that yesterday. The Red Sox, Connolly early, was cruising right along, and they took him out, which ultimately created the spot. I guess set it up for the 3-run homer for Suarez to steal that game. So while I'm not like totally married to the starting pitcher like being like the end all be all in a handicap, I don't really think it is in this game with a Blue Jays team that's just far better than their opponent tonight. With their opponent being the Colorado Rockies. Now, we're going to probably talk about the Rockies quite a bit in this segment because I think they've got some under the radar guys. I think the Rockies are going to be like better than they were last year. I actually think the Rockies could win somewhere in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 more games than they did last year. And if they do that, they're still probably the worst team in the league, if not one of the bottom 3 teams in Major League Baseball. So that's two ways to look at the Rockies. Is one, they've got a lot of they've got upside in the market from a day-to-day basis because they're probably it's unlikely that they will be historically bad like they were last year. But the reality is, still a bad baseball team. They are now going from Miami, where they finished their series yesterday in South Beach and got walked off, all the way up to Toronto. So, that's not the easiest travel. Florida to Toronto, no off day, got to go through customs. It's kind of a pain. So again, it's like not the easiest travel spot for a Rockies team that's never good on the road. You go look at any year. They're always going to be better at home than they are on the road. And amazingly, the Rockies, even though they're 0-3, are 3-0 on the +1.5 run line. They lost all 3 of those games over the weekend to the Marlins by 1. Some of that has to do with the fact that the Marlins are probably not a 500 team this year either. They're off to a great start, 3-0, but I think the Marlins, when it all shakes out, might be lucky to finish 500. They're running into a team in the Blue Jays that I think, on total basis today, I made the case that I have the Mariners and the Yankees kind of 1A and 1B in my power rating. I got the Mariners 1 and the Yankees 2. If I've got those two 1-2, without a doubt, the Blue Jays would be 3. Still a very, very good baseball team, in my opinion. One that was so close to winning it all last year, and I think has a great chance to do so, a great chance to be in the mix this year. One of the reasons they're probably going to be in the mix is Cody Ponz holding down that rotation spot. I think he pitches well here. This is a lineup. It might not be a AAA Rockies lineup like last year. Still not a great lineup. So you get, really couldn't ask for a better sort of first start in the big leagues, back stateside for Ponce. If he throws the ball anything like I expect him to throw it tonight, I think the Blue Jays will be in line to win this game by more than a run. So while I do think you could target Cody Ponce props if you wanted to, maybe I would say the strikeout over would be the one that I'd be most inclined to give a look. I think the best bet here, and what I will use for my free pick for the segment today, is just Blue Jays -1.5. It's -130, so it's a little bit juiced, but I think that's ultimately going to be the best way to go in this game. The reason is you get that Blue Jays lineup behind you. Yeah, you only get 8 at-bats technically, but you also get to just, in general, fade a Rockies team that just had to play 3 games at Miami over the weekend, and now has to come all the way up to Toronto, to play this game. And again, I know this was a Cody Ponce sort of focused breakdown, but Sugano on the Rockies is someone that the Blue Jays have seen. They could absolutely light him up. So I think the best bet here for our segment today is going to be Blue Jays -1.5. That's the one that I'm going to tag on my free pick page. But as a second look, I would say the Ponce strikeouts over would be a way I would look at that. Just looking at those numbers from the KBO last year, I think the stuff translates. So I will call it Blue Jays -1.5 and Cody Ponce to go over his strikeout, projected strikeouts for this game. Again, if you want to hear about certain players, certain teams, whatever you want me to talk about in this segment, head under the comments and drop it below. I will look in the comments each day, and I will pull from there to figure out sort of, who we're going to talk about the next day. As the season starts to wear on, we'll probably hit more than one game in this segment. It's just we're early in the season, and there's, there's less under the radar right now, which is, as the season wears on, guys get hurt, guys start to get called up from AAA. We'll have more to talk about in this segment. So just the technically 2 free picks today. Blue Jays -1.5 for the full game. Ponce over strikeouts. And let me know in the comments what you want to hear about in this segment. Again, we are going to run this Monday through Saturday, so no Sundays for this. Monday through Saturday, daily right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Don't forget Total Bases, 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. We've also got a Saturday show planned, which should start as early as this Saturday, so keep on the lookout for that. It will be part of Last Call, I believe, in some fashion. And we have a double play package right now that lets you get any of the 2 panelists from Total Bases, myself, Tokyo Brandon, Brian Leonard in like a 2-for-1 deal. That is, much cheaper than you would be able to get if you were to actually buy both handicappers individually. So keep an eye out for that. For my college basketball fans, Full Court Press will be back on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right after Total Bases. And we will be here to finish out the season. We're going to do the Crown, the NIT, and the Final Four the rest of the week. So keep an eye out for that. We will see you guys back here tomorrow. Total Bases, 9 a.m. And then I'll be back with another Under the Radar. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.